It all began with a promise from God. I will make you into a great nation, and through your offspring, all nations on earth will be blessed. Genesis 12 verses 2-3. From that promise, the nation of Israel was born. But history tested that covenant. Empires rose and fell, and Israel was caught in the crossfire. They were attacked by Egypt, enslaved for centuries, and miraculously delivered through Moses and the Exodus. They faced the Amalekites, Philistines, Assyrians, and Babylonians, each a threat to their survival. Yet every time, God intervened. But perhaps no moment felt darker than the Babylonian exile in 586 BC, when Jerusalem was destroyed, and the people were carried far from home. Many wondered if God's promise had failed. But God had not abandoned Israel. 593 BC, during that same Babylonian exile, the prophet Ezekiel received a vision that would echo through history. God carried him in the spirit to a vast valley of dry, sun-bleached bones, lifeless and forgotten. And then came the question, "Son of man, can these bones live?" Ezekiel answered honestly, "Lord God, only you know." God commanded him to prophesy. As Ezekiel obeyed, the bones rattled and reassembled, bone to bone, tendons, and flesh. Yet they remained still. Then came the second command, "Prophesy to the breath." And as Ezekiel did, the Spirit entered them. They stood, a vast, living army. "These bones," God declared, "are the whole house of Israel." Ezekiel 37 verse 11. It was a message not just for the exiles in Babylon, but for the entire future of Israel. Though scattered, though lifeless, they would be restored. For nearly 2,000 years after Rome crushed Jerusalem in 70 AD, the Jewish people were scattered across the globe. The land of Israel lay desolate. Nation after nation rose and fell over its soil. But no Jewish sovereignty returned. Then, in the shadow of the Holocaust, a time when 6 million Jews were murdered, the world heard the cry, "Never again." And in 1948, against all odds, Israel was reborn. It was more than a political event. It was prophetic. Exiles began returning from every continent. The land, once barren, began to bloom. Hebrew was revived. Cities were rebuilt. Bones were coming together. But one thing remained missing: the breath, the Spirit. "I will put my Spirit in you, and you shall live." Ezekiel 37 verse 14. The physical rebirth has happened, but the spiritual awakening is still unfolding. Ezekiel didn't stop at the valley of dry bones. He spoke of a coming war, one led by a figure called Gog, from the land of Magog, with a coalition of nations from the north. Many believe these points to modern alliances: Russia, Iran, and Turkey, gathering in hostility against Israel. Sound familiar? Conflict continues to surround Israel today. Terror attacks, invasions, and threats of annihilation are a constant shadow. From the 1948 War of Independence, to the Six-Day War of 1967, to the Yom Kippur War of 1973, and now the modern threats from Hamas, Hezbollah, and hostile nations. Israel has faced overwhelming odds, but God has preserved them. And in the prophesied Gog-Magog war, Ezekiel says God himself will intervene. "I will magnify myself and sanctify myself, and I will be known in the eyes of many nations. Then they shall know that I am the Lord." Ezekiel 38 verse 23. There will be a shaking before the awakening, a final battle before breath enters fully. Prophets like Zechariah foresaw a moment when Israel would recognize the Messiah, the one they pierced. Zechariah 12 verse 10. Then, a fountain of grace will be opened. Spiritual eyes will be opened. The Spirit will be poured out. Revelation tells us of 144,000 sealed Israelites. 12,000 from each tribe. Not a symbol, but a literal remnant. They will be messengers during a time of global darkness. Proof that the Spirit has returned to Israel. So, has God cast off Israel? By no means. Romans 11 verse 1. The gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable. Romans 11 verse 29. Israel's story isn't finished. It's central to God's redemptive plan. Today, the bones have come together. The land has been restored. The people have returned. And now, we await the breath. Ezekiel saw it. Jesus affirmed it. Revelation confirms it. We're not waiting for prophecy to begin. We are living in the middle of it. Every conflict. Every return. Every shaking. It's all part of God's divine script. Written long ago, unfolding before our eyes.